Authorities are on high alert, setting up an underground command center, and we got an exclusive inside look. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Brian Ross is in Boston. Brian.
Good morning, Martha. The Boston police commissioner told me his only real fear about tomorrow is some kind of copycat attack. So he's deploying thousands of officers and spending millions of dollars to make sure that does not happen.
The city seems in a festive mood with a record number of runners. Some 36,000 signed up to run this year's marathon. But it's all deadly serious inside what's known as the bunker, the underground high-tech control room, where Kurt Schwartz, the director of the state's emergency management agency, showed us around. More than 100 newly installed cameras along the 26.2-mile route will be monitored, twice as many as last year.
We have expanded across the board.
Last year, surveillance cameras helped to pinpoint the alleged bombers, but only days after the attack. The challenge this year is to stop any possible attack before it happens.
Anything of trouble and any person that's presenting a concern to us may be monitored very quickly.
In addition to the cameras, some 4,000 police officers will be on patrol along the route. 500 of them will be undercover in an effort to keep the festive spirit from being overwhelmed by the police.
I don't want it to be an armed camp that people feel intimidated by the police presence.
Boston's new police commissioner, Bill Evans, a runner himself who was in last year's marathon, will be on duty all day this year.
What will you be looking for?
Well, I think, we'll be looking for somebody who doesn't feel right. The characteristics, a lot of our officers underwent training, looking at the characteristics of someone who might be carrying explosives.
Evans officers have already put their training to the test when a mentally unstable person was spotted during a memorial tribute this past week with a backpack that turned out to have a rice cooker with confetti in it. It was a hoax, but the bomb squad was taking no chances.
It was a nice drill. We did what we were trained to do.
The winners of last year's marathon, Melissa DeCisa from Ethiopia and Rita Jeptu from Kenya, were all but forgotten because of the bomb attack. But they're both back this year.
I came here to support,
To support Boston. You're not scared about running?
No, I'm not. Okay, I'm not scared because I know there is security.
Martha, the police commissioner also told me there's no intelligence whatsoever that there is a possible attack, that this is a target of any terrorists. Of course, that was the case last year, too. Martha?
Thanks, Brian. Chairman McCaul is back with us, along with former NYPD Commissioner Ray Kelly, now an ABC News contributor. Welcome again to you, Chairman McCaul, and to you, Commissioner Kelly. I want to start with you, Chairman McCaul. The race director says Boston is now the safest place on the planet. Do you agree? Are you that confident?
Well, I talked to the Boston Police Commissioner the other day. I've talked to our Homeland Security operations on the ground. I do believe it's very ramped up security-wise, cameras, personnel, canines, all sorts of bomb detecting equipment. So I do think it's very well fortified. It'd be difficult to penetrate that. I am concerned, as was noted, a copycat type demonstration or someone who was inspired by the Tamerlan brothers, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, to perpetrate another act of jihadism. That's a very real scenario. We don't have any chatter right now, but I think as Brian pointed out earlier, we didn't have that last time. So I think what's the good news is since last time, after we've done our reports and investigations on what happened last time, is that now we're having full cooperation, I think, with the FBI in terms of on-the-ground security. And so I feel confident we're going to have a safe and successful marathon tomorrow. I know the entire nation is cheering for Boston.
They certainly are. Commissioner Kelly, there's nobody who knows how to keep masses of people safe like you do as the former commissioner in the New York City Police Department. But what do you look for specifically? We're talking about 26.2 miles here.
No question about it. It's a long distance to secure. I think what you look for is abnormalities. What we used to say is you look at your world through the prism of 9/11. Now the officers, the spectators have to look at their world through the prism of what happened on April 15th, 2013. From my perspective, I think the Boston authorities, the Massachusetts authorities have done everything they reasonably can do to make this a safe and secure event. You can reduce the risk, but in a free and open society, you can never totally eliminate it. It's important to note, I think, that this race goes through 8 towns, including Boston. So that means you need a lot of coordination and a lot of communication. And that's what the authorities have been focusing on for the better part of the last year. I think last week, Governor Patrick said that they had a tabletop exercise involving 450 people. To me, that shows that they're looking at the right things, because if something happens outside of Boston, you have to respond.
Tell me then what worries you most for tomorrow.
Well, obviously, some sort of copycat event, something that looks similar to what we saw last year. And again, you cannot totally rule out an event happening away from the marathon. And I believe that the Massachusetts authorities and the Boston police have put that into the equation. You need resources to respond to locations away from the marathon if something untoward happens.
And Chairman McCaul, the report from your committee said the FBI failed to fully act on intelligence it received last year about Tamerlan Tsarnaev. Quickly, if you will, could we have stopped this last year?
Well, you know, my report, also the Inspector General came out with a report saying that investigative steps were not taken when the FBI were investigating Tamerlan prior to the bombing that may potentially would have shown these signs of radicalization that were taking place. Interviews were not taken, leads were not followed up, warning signs were not were sort of missed.
So could it have been stopped?
Well, I think the overseas travel was the key here, and we missed that completely. And even the FBI supervisor said that was a significant event that, quite frankly, would have changed everything had the case agent on the ground reported that to his supervisors. I would hope that would never happen again.
Thanks, Chairman, and thanks, Commissioner.